Hi, and welcome to another PHP tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to look at default arguments when working with functions in PHP. So we've already looked at how to create functions and use arguments and pass data into functions, whether it's a variable or an array. But now we're going to look at how to work with a function where it takes an argument or two arguments or more arguments, but none is provided by the user or by some other part of the program. So what I'll do here as an example is create a function which will be called message, and it will take a greeting. So a greeting will be passed into the function, and they'll also take a name, so somebody's name can be passed into the function, and then the greeting and the name will be put together and displayed back to the user in a message. So I'll create the function called message, and inside here we'll have two arguments, greeting and name. Okay, so greeting and name. All right, and then what we'll do inside this function is just say return greeting and name. Okay. All right, so we've got that. Now, when we call this function, what we can do is call the function and then put it inside an echo statement, so the result will be displayed on the screen to the user. So we can say echo message, and then inside here, inside these brackets, we can have the two arguments, greeting and name. So we could have a greeting like hello there, and then the name, so I'll just use Batman, and then we can run that function and we get the message hello there Batman. Okay, let's put a comma after hello there. All right, so that's how we use arguments with a function in PHP. But what happens if we have a function which takes two arguments, so we've got greeting and name, but what happens if only one of those arguments or one of those values is provided to pass into the function? So what happens here if we get rid of the second value there, the second argument, and run the function? We get an error saying missing argument 2. Okay, that's because the second argument here hasn't been provided. So what we can actually do is we can have a default argument in case one isn't provided. So we could do that up here inside the brackets. We could say name equals, and then we could just say something like friend. Okay, so now when we reload that, it will say hello there friend. Okay, so that is the default argument which is used if no argument is given. Okay, but then if we come back here and we do put a second argument in here and refresh, then it will take that argument, hello there Batman. So whatever goes inside here as the second argument will override the default that you have for the second argument here. Okay, so we've got a default argument here which is used if no argument is given, but if an argument is given, then it will override the default. Okay, so that's an example of how to use default arguments in PHP. Thanks for watching.